Welcome into the arena. Grab yourself a seat and join me courtside as we talk your Miami. Oh man, I can't even pretend, guys. Well, first of all, thank you for joining me for another edition of Miami Heat Basketball Beat. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and we are coming to you just moments after the Heat Game 4 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And as sure you may know by now, the Miami Heat have been eliminated from the playoffs as they get swept 4-0. I couldn't even put the score up because it makes me cry. They lost tonight 138 to 83, a 55-point score differential, and it got as big as a 60-point lead for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Where to start? Where to start? I don't know, guys. I wasn't able to get to you after the game on Saturday, which was a 37-point loss, 124 to 87, where that was the biggest loss in Miami Heat history, playoff loss, only to be outdone today by almost double that at 55 points. Not quite double, a 55-point loss. It was a disgrace. They were down by 20 points midway through the first quarter and never got any closer than that. This was a disgrace of a performance. Let's talk about some of the stats that got us here just to get them out of the way, and then we'll get into some more opinion-based topics here. All right, as for the team stats here, the Cleveland Cavaliers have scored 138 points, shooting almost 55% from the field, 47% from the three-point line, making 22 threes. They made 22 of 25 free throws at 88%, out-rebounded your Heat 51 to 45. Let's see, had 26 assists to 17 in favor of the Cavaliers, 15 steals for the Cavaliers to only 4 for the Heat. And I will say that most of those were unforced turnovers by the Heat that just threw the ball up in the air and it landed in the hands of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's see, total turnovers was 19 for the Heat, 12 for the Cavaliers, but 28 points were scored off of turnovers for the Cavaliers. 28 points. That is a monstrous score here. Points in the paints were relatively even. So that's that. The biggest lead, like I said, was a 60-point lead at one point for the Cavaliers. The largest lead of the game for your Heat was 1 point early in the game. What players let us down today? Pretty much all of them. This game was so hard to watch. All right, before I get into some of my rants here, I want to start off by saying, first off, everything I'm saying is with the assumption and the acknowledgement that the Cavaliers are a much better team. They were the 1 seed. They had the most wins during the regular season throughout most of the year until the end of the season. They were great all year long. The Heat were the lowest ranked team ever to get into the playoffs, the first 10 seed of a play-in game to get into the playoffs. So honestly, they were outmatched from the gun. But with all that being said, I am still completely disappointed with your Miami Heat's effort and showing throughout this series, especially during the last 2 games. I don't know where to start here. All right, first of all, does the Heat have anyone on their team who can dribble or pass? They kept turning the ball over and over again, and it was like the weird slow motion, just dribbling off their foot, like going to pass, holding up, and at the end just letting it go without any force. And when the guy was already jumping the lane on the first part of the pass, and then even a slower version came towards him, it was easy for the steals. And they just turned it right around and scored on fast break after fast break. Now, as far as the game, the way I looked at it from the get-go, starting off with the very first game where Max Strus ran down the court to pick up full court of Tyler Herro, giving him a big chest bump with all of his weight, letting him know that this was going to be a physical matchup. And I will say this, Cavaliers were better. They were very physical, leaning on our players at all times. Our players were dumb. When they step up and press you so hard, you've got to go backdoor, do double passes, give and goes. They're leaning forward on us the entire time, and we were just fighting to go backwards to get the ball. If they're that aggressive, you got to use their aggression against them. We didn't do that at all today, or this whole series, rather. Every time they were leaning up on us, we were just taking steps back closer to the half-court line to try and create more space that they weren't giving us, meaning there was bigger gaps between that front line of defense and the back line defense. I know they have good centers and the defensive player of the year and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, but nonetheless, we were not even trying to take advantage of the few spots that the Cavaliers were giving us with their aggression. That was disappointing. When you have people like Wiggins, no one was back cut. The only back cutter we have on our team this year, it seemed like, was Pelle Larsson, and he's no savior. But I mean, at least he would do it every once in a while. He did get a couple back cuts for baskets during the course of the series, but no one else would take advantage of the aggression. On the other side, again, I'm not expecting any favoritism here for a 10 seed to try and advance. We already had that fortunate situation 2 years ago where we beat the Bucks in the first round. These refs were letting the Cavaliers lean, push, grab all over our guys all series long, not calling any of those fouls. And whenever the Heat would trying to get a little aggression back, they called fouls every single time. So the Heat were just devastated morally when it came to that. Not morally. What's the word I want? Maybe that'll work. They were just defeated in that every time they tried to match the aggressiveness of the Cavaliers, they were getting called for fouls. While when Cleveland Cavaliers, like with Ty Jerome, Max Strus, for example, among others, would just push and lean. And our guys, first of all, our guys can't take that type of physicality, obviously. So it was a good strategy. I'm not blaming the Cavaliers, but we didn't use their aggressiveness against us. And when we tried to do it back to them, the refs wouldn't let it happen. So we were destined for failure to begin with here. So it's really upsetting here. I'm generally a glass half full when it comes to the Heat. Even when they lose, like, all right, well, what can we take from it? Where can we go from here? This was awful. We've heard for about 2.5 years now that Tyler Herro's been on the trade block, at least unofficially. Now, my question is to you out there, is it time to look to move Tyler Herro? Honestly, I thought last year with the injury to Jimmy Butler in the play-in game against the Philadelphia 76ers, as awful as that was for the chance of the Heat to do well in the playoffs, I thought it was a blessing in disguise to see Tyler Herro, who'd been hurt the last couple of playoff runs, see how he could be as the main guy. And last year during Boston, he got manhandled a similar way. Physical defense from Jrue Holiday and others made it show that he couldn't handle being the primary ball handler in games where the opposing defense was going to key in on him and push him around. Listen, I like Tyler Herro. I think he's improved a lot, added many new tricks to his bag this year with the little scoop under play to get into the basket, a la James Harden, little inside-out dribbles. He did a lot, added a lot to his game this year. But the thing that I don't like about his game, and this is why we lost a lot of those games in the fourth quarter, we were the worst fourth quarter team all year, is I don't like him when he has the ball early in the shot clock. He is a great scorer when the defense is rotating and he can go. He's not fast enough to take guys one-on-one, but he's fast enough to take a guy who's on a closeout to him. But no one's closing out to him when he has the ball the entire time. They close out to him on swing passes, and then he can do those little sweep under dribbles that he was doing to get to the basket. So in all those fourth quarter losses, they would take the ball and he would just pound it. And the worst thing about what I don't like when he has the ball, not that he can't get by guys, that's awful enough as it is that he just crosses over back and forth, expending so much energy, but he doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't go anywhere. And then when Bam comes to set a screen, he rejects the screen all the time, takes a hard dribble away from the screen, then dribbles right back towards it. He's not using the screen in any way, either by letting his guy get picked, and he's not letting the guy fall into the screen as he's expecting to get picked. He just takes a hard step away from the screen and a hard step back. You can't. So his point of attack offense is his worst part of his game, and that's where they put the ball in his hands the most. And it's very frustrating and it's to some degree, it's the construction of the team as we don't have a quality ball handler until we got Davion Mitchell, and that's when we started to get a little better. When we put him on the ball more, and he's no savior either. He's a backup point guard. But when he had the ball more and let Tyler Herro get the ball off the swing and attack from the wings as opposed from the top, because when he's at the top, like I said, he just dribbles back and forth, left and right crossover, hoping that one of these crossovers was going to break him loose. But even on a slow defender, if you give a good crossover right, you're supposed to, from right to left, you have to take the next dribble left to increase that distance that you might have gained, not bring it right back. The guy is slow is still there. You just dribble right back into him. It's very frustrating. I don't know how much of that was the coaching staff saying, "Do you take the ball, Tyler?" Because it doesn't work. He has so many good parts to his offensive game. That is his weakest part of the game. The only thing I can think of is that the Heat want to find something out and say, let's see if he can do it. Well, we learned last year he couldn't do it in that Boston series. The only differential I'll say to try it one more time is that last year he was thrown into it last minute as Jimmy Butler got hurt going into through the play-in. This time it was planned. It was a planned failure to see maybe how he can handle it, and it's obvious he can't be that primary ball handler from the top of the key. He's got to be at a 45-degree angle or lower to be effective. Because he dribbles to look for a shot. He does make good passes. I've seen him make them, but it's like he's going to dribble the ball 12 seconds before he makes that great pass most of the time. I've been impressed with some of his passes this year, but I've also seen him dribble out the clock and then need to be bailed out for the last second cut for somebody. So, but my point was earlier when I was saying there's been rumors of him being on the trade block for the last 2.5 years. And the problem was his value was not as high as they'd like it when they're like trying to trade for Dame Lillard, for example. They're like, we don't want Tyler Hero. He's not good enough for us. Well, he's coming off of his best regular season in quite a long time, if not ever, coming off an all-star season, highest scoring points for his career in a season in terms of average points per game. Like I said, I like Tyler, but if you're trying to use this year to, what's the word I want? Get his value back up so now he's worth something in a trade, that is what happened. I'm not saying I want to get rid of him, but if you were thinking about it, this is as good as his trade value is going to be with enough time to get players to help you for the future. I would say every player on the Heat, no one on the Heat is untouchable in terms of trade. Maybe Bam, because you just build him up as such a team leader, and what does that do if you he's sacrificed so much in terms of what he gives to his teammates on the court and defense and offense. To trade that guy away, it sends a bad message. But everyone else, I wouldn't hold on to Jovic, for example. I mean, some people are fans of him. I don't think he's very good. I know he had the most points tonight in a garbage time game from the second quarter on, if not earlier. He makes mistakes all the time. He's been with the team 3 years. I know it's not a long time, but it's been long enough that it's not he's getting bigger and stronger, but he still makes the same mistakes all the time. He's in the wrong place all the time. They say he's a great ball handler. The only time he looks like a good ball handler is when he's dribbling in the open court off a rip down rebound. Well, that's nice and all, but once one person steps up, he dribbles off his foot or throws the ball away. That's not ball handling. Ball handling is not dribbling in open space. It's the NBA. All right. If you watch our fantasy football shows, I know I'm getting a little cut up. I hear myself getting worked up. It's time for a Mike rant.
Baby rant. Karen rant.
I don't care whose fault it is. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think.
Mike rant.
All right, already started. I'm going in on Jovic right here. Jovic, I'm not saying to look to trade him, but I'm saying if there's a trade package to be had, he's got to be he can't be untouchable, not even close to untouchable. He's got to be thrown in if you want a young value prospect to give out. He's not going to be good. Yes, he can make three-pointers, but there's a lot of guys in the NBA who can make a three-pointer now. And again, it's about being a good basketball player, and he's not a great basketball player. He can dribble in the open court, but once a defender comes up, most of the time he dribbles off his foot or tries to go behind his back and it rolls away. They're like, he's such a good passer. He throws a lob every once in a while when he does drive, but when someone comes to him, I've seen so many times where he'll fumble the ball on a swing pass. More times than not, a good passer is actually someone who can make passes well. I'm thinking about Tobin right now, and I don't know if it's a bit or not as the Jovic defender. And again, I know he's coming off the highest scoring for the team tonight, but it was a ridiculous game where they were down by 50 points before halftime. Let's see. He did have, where is he? He did have 24 points, but he was a minus 28. He was fourth worst in terms of plus minus. Oh, man, maybe not fourth worst. Among the worst, though, as everyone was minus 30 or worse here. His 24 points, and he was a minus 28. So it didn't help the team at all in that regard there. He's the only prospect you have other than Kel'el Ware. And being that Kel'el Ware is so young, I would hold on him a little longer. But I think Jovic, and the other thing with Jovic, he's coming up on the time to get a contract extension. Is he someone you want to put $12 million into instead of the $5 million now? Maybe even more? I say no. Now's the time to trade him away or put him in a package. I'm not saying get rid of him for nothing. Put him in a package where that team can get some salary filler, get some picks, and he's the prospect that they can look at for a year before they have to pay him so they can have a chance to have some value on that end. This is just a frustrating way to end this season. It's pretty much what they've been doing all year until they got a little bit of a run towards the last 2 weeks of the season and a very exciting play-in. I know some of you guys out there would have said it's better off just to miss the playoffs and keep that 11th pick as it turns out. But I don't know here, man, because like I said, now they have more flexibility out of the more years going forward. They're going to have next year's pick no matter what. And with that being said, should we break it down, get picks, and tank next year? I'm not a fan of tanking. I'm not going to do it, but you have your pick next year. And if you're willing to move out of the 11th to get the 15th to send it along this year, one of the ways that makes sense is if your pick's better than 11th next year, and that would be by tanking, or if your team's just so good you don't care about the picks anyway. Do you think getting Kevin Durant added to this team would make them a fourth seed or better? I don't know. His teams haven't been doing quite well the last 4 years himself, so I'm not saying that's a magic elixir. I'm just saying if the Heat are ever gonna just tank, next year's the year to do it. I'm not saying I want to do it, but you're gonna have that pick no matter what. It's yours, so might as well get it as low as possible. If you're going to tank, next year's the year to do it. You have some assets to trade that don't have to trade necessarily back for even players. You can trade them for picks. Tyler Hero in a package might get you Kevin Durant, but you're still going to have to send a pick. You send Tyler Hero somewhere else, you get a pick. You know what I'm saying? If you're not trying to take one of their players. Again, I'm not a fan of tanking. I like watching winning basketball. I'm just saying is the question has to be asked now. If you're going to tank, next season is the year to do it. And if you're going to do it, you have to get rid of some players that have some value and regain your chest here of draft picks. And then the very next year, you can trade multiple picks as every year you move along, your back years open up. They'll have 4 to 5 picks to trade if they can acquire 1 to 2 in the appropriate years, where they get rid of those protections in the Stepien rule. So anyway, this season is over. This season ended awfully. We had a little bit of joy last week, and we'll take a little bit of joy. I'll take it. I liked getting in the playoffs, sending the pick to OKC this year to keep theirs next year and start their trade asset chest rebuilding sooner. And also gives you flexibility to go all in on a tank job and keep that pick for next year as well. All right, guys, thank you so very much for joining us. This was kind of an experiment this year with this Miami Heat basketball beat. We'll probably be on 1 or 2 more times heading to the draft, but this is not my primary channel. Hey, if you like what you see here and you're interested in other things, we do have 2 more channels. We have a Wingman Fantasy Football channel on YouTube that starts up in August and runs through December. And we have our poker channel, Wingman Poker, on YouTube as well. That is going on now. So if you'd like to follow along in some poker league tournaments and or commentary, that's out there for you. Just hit those subscribe buttons or go to channels at the end of this video here, as there will be click on links to get to those other channels. Thank you guys so much for joining me. With that being said, guys, may you please make your free throws. May your coaches' challenges be successful. And we will see you next time.